Hello, everybody. I'm hearing a lot of static background. Is that just me? Is that our host? Well, okay, everybody. Good to see everybody joining us. I see Mel, Michelle up on stage here. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hey, I made it on time this week.
Yeah, it's all working. After our Christmas break, we're all getting up to speed. I'm gonna get myself sorted on Discord so I can see these questions fast. All right. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We'll just give it a minute for a few more people to show up. Welcome, everybody. Nice to see everybody coming back. Resource, don't forget to push the request to speak so you can join us on stage. There you go. Volcron's here. Woohoo! All right. Musashi, you want to jump on stage too? I know there's some stuff for you to talk about. Welcome. Hope everybody had a good break. If you've got questions, like always, go ahead and post them in Discord. We'll also keep an eye on Twitter, although most of the questions in the past few weeks seems to always come from Discord, so please keep doing that. It's good to see some familiar faces in here. Chatted with some folks over break. That was fun, really educational and interesting to hear everybody's point of view as I asked questions about honor and various other things. I love hearing what everybody has to say. Static is gone now. Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure where that static is coming from. F.A. Sailor. Well, I don't know. It's 2 minutes in. What do you think, Michelle? Should we start?
We can get started if you want.
Let's do it. And if you guys hear issues with our audio levels, please let us know. I'm trying a little bit of a different configuration right now. If I'm too quiet, please do let me know. And otherwise, Michelle, take it away.
I'm gonna try not to yell. Usually I'm very loud, so I've got my phone further away from my face today, so hopefully it's all right.
Cool.
Yeah, so welcome to our weekly AMA. What are we, January 6th, 2023, first AMA of the new year. It's been a busy week for the Townstar live game this week. We had a couple of updates. We had an update on Tuesday, and we had another update last night. Both of them were in an attempt to try to help with some of the FPS and pathing issues the game has. Not so much issues, but just trying to tinker it around and see if we could get some improvements. It seems like there's been some mixed feedback, so definitely let us know what you think as to how it's going. We are still working on them. I don't have any other big updates to share about that at the moment.
Maybe Resource can jump in and share a little bit more details on what she's seeing.
Yeah, so we were able to make some improvements with the FPS and some improvements with the conga lines. They're not complete fixes, but they are improvements that we were able to make, and they're mostly going to be seen by people who experience an extremely low frame rate. So if you I've mentioned this before, but if you have your frame rates around 30 or 40 frames per second, you're probably not going to see much improvement. But if you're one of those people that are unfortunately experiencing things like 5 or 10 frames per second, then that's where those people are going to get the most benefit out of the improvements that were made. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So as people realize, we're keeping an eye on Discord. So if you have issues, please do share. This is, I think, a really great attempt by the team to try to help people have a more happy and pleasant play experience. So please do send your feedback as you're seeing things. You guys are helping us get this right. Anything else, Resource or anybody on Townstar Live? I know we've got a lot of stuff has happened since we were last talking before Christmas. We did the fireworks. You want to share a little bit about that?
Let's see. I'm actually not sure what you want me to share with the fireworks.
Oh, just how's it going? Maybe Mal Michelle could jump in and talk about it as well. Some people might not have seen it if they've been away on their Christmas holiday.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we did a really cool thing with fireworks. I think they went on sale the 26th, if I'm not mistaken, and they're super fun. It's like very similar to the ornaments as far as the buffs and whatnot are concerned, and the trading value there. It's too much fun. So if you haven't seen them, please take a look at the store and see what you think. And we definitely would love your feedback on that as well.
And this was around the time of the boom cane meta, which I've seen a lot of great feedback on that. I've seen a few say it was a top 10 enjoyed meta. So the fireworks and the boom canes were at the same time pretty much. And of course, helps with the starting cash and clearance costs. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah, and don't forget anybody who is still thinking about purchasing fireworks in order to get that free Sphere of Hope NFT, you have until midnight Pacific Standard Time, I believe today, in order to qualify still. You get two of each pack from the store.
And I will
Nice.
start digging out a leak right now. I believe I can get a leak for that. Bear with me 5 minutes. I will try and get a Sphere of Hope drop picture.
Cool. Well, while you're pulling that up, why don't we jump on to Townstar Godot?
Sounds good. My mic working?
Yes.
Awesome. This Bluetooth. Morning, everybody, and evening to people not in the morning time zone. Let's see. Townstar Godot updates. It's going pretty well. I'm happy to state that we have enough features in that I didn't feel like making a video because the work has been more about stability, bug fixing, getting to some tech debt that we had to clean up, stuff like that. So the video would have been just kind of, I don't know, just more of the same. So the features that we've been doing over the past, well, since the break, past week or so, we've been improving our backend tooling for the banning and unbanning of nefarious actors, but I'm sure our community would let us know if there were any to begin with, so hopefully we won't have to use that. Our starter towns is an interesting one that I think Musashi might share screenshots of. I posted it in a video a couple weeks ago. Starter town tech is going to be used for more than just starter towns. I don't want to leak what, but as you can imagine, and as we discussed in here before, things like different competitions will use different types of starter towns. That's something we've mentioned before. So that tech has been interesting to implement. We have a concept of offline play, right? And when you think about, well, where was my town a week ago? Or let's say 3 days ago, last time I played, and it's running offline, and now, oh, you can't hear me. Tina, you can't hear me
I
or
can
you
hear
can't
you.
hear anybody? Oh, okay.
No,
All right.
I can hear you
Just saw
clearly.
that in Discord. Okay, cool. Okay.
Gatsu
Sorry
says
about
you're
that. So,
low there, Volcron.
oh, yeah.
You,
I have
you
no
sound great.
dials.
All right.
Okay, they probably muted me. Um, it's gonna make some jokes, but yeah. Anyway, so when we talk about bringing you back online for your town that's been offline, you haven't played the game in a week. If you hear us talk about fast forwarding, that's what we're talking about, and that has been a lot of improvements there. As you can imagine, we use that for QA and testing and local cheating as well. That we're not going to let anybody do in release, but for debug, we have to cheat a bit. Crafting, there's been some improvements. For example, whenever improvements to the multi-craft, like display UI inputs, showing number of inputs versus number of outputs, just some tweaks there, and then some backend fixes to how that's actually stored, which was important to get done, and various fixes to auto trade as well, and some interesting VFX that people are working on. So mobile has been a priority. That's good. And there's been different mobile web input fixes for dragging, entity selecting, and even some UI work. Different, as I mentioned a second ago, visuals on like the trade depot, showing the selections, stuff like that, and adding functionality for skins and ghost cards. Probably the last thing I could go into detail on a little bit would be the UI changes or improvements for parity. Just displaying the labor cost in a little floating pop-up window. Our familiar, wage timer, displaying it next to the labor rate. Improving our message of the day so it looks good on mobile. And profanity check, everybody's favorite feature. So what it was doing, this is minor, but I think it's interesting to bring up. It was just not allowing you to make your town. So part of the cycle of dev work is we show that, and then QA is like, how do I know when I've violated the profanity filter? So we add features into that, say, oh, just feedback to the customer. And then there have been tons and tons of tech debt bug fixes, as I mentioned before, improvements to our logging, to our QA cheats, our server stability has been awesome. Thank you guys for making that dream come true. People who know what I'm talking about are listening. Town storage and leaderboards. One of our guys made the leaderboard tech blazing fast. Really awesome job there. And yeah, that's the Townstar Godot update.
Well, thanks. Hey, one of the things I want to just chime in here on is, as Volcron said, there's not a whole lot of new visual stuff to show. And for people who've been through software development cycles or game dev cycles, you get to this point where most of the stuff is in the game, and now you're polishing and fixing and getting more of the infrastructure in place and those kind of things. So we're really starting to enter that stage right now. Like yesterday, we had a weekly bug bash day, and so while that fixed stuff, it's not going to generate a bunch of new visuals for us to look at. So that's where we're at. Cool. Did anybody else have anything to chime in on in terms of the any kind of updates, stuff you've seen on TSG before we move on?
Maybe we can take out the town setup before we move on.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Let me ping Rachel for her to upload them.
Mr. Potty Mouth, yes, that's still engineering schedule is still showing that we are there at the end of January. So everything it's going to be really tight, and there's a lot of hard work going on, a lot of hard work left, but we're really working hard for that date. Team's working really hard for that. So no new changes on that. Yeah, Willow, it is pretty sweet. It's one of those things where we've been talking about it, and like I said, the team's working super hard. Now, there may be some weird delays or something, as always at the end of a project, but we'll just keep all driving through those things. Are we going to try to put those pictures in Discord?
I think Rachel might be, maybe she has an outage again. I'll just put them in here.
Yeah, go ahead and put them in there.
So, okay, so this was in the video, one of the latest videos that Volcron showed, but maybe people didn't notice. So just a little clarification of the flow there. You can see from the main menu, which is the first picture, you can go to events or competitions. When you click on that card, you get the competition screen where you see all of the competitions that are available or that are upcoming. And from there, if you want to go into a competition and you don't have a town there yet, you'll get to the last picture, which is the town setup. So this is the phase one of what we have been discussing before, where everyone will get the same town, right? So you get like, what's the biome at the center? What are the 4 super towns that you have around you that proximity effects. You also have info buttons, which you didn't have before. So those cards flip, and you get a little description of what that what that super tile is, and how it affects your town. So that's mostly for new players that may not know that I don't know, like Desert gives you 3 sand for the whole town or something like that. So that will be in there, and of course the distance, sorry, the time and gas requirements to sell to the closest city by land, by sea, or both. So that's the current plan for the first iteration, but the idea is to follow up on this in future releases to make it a little bit more interesting and allow for people to customize or get certain randomness in how their towns are set up. Now, if the idea of this plan, and this is what Mao will be taking advantage of, is that every competition now can show you a different town setup for everybody, right? So if you go to the second competition, you get another town that it's tailor-made for that competition, at least in this first iteration. So that's kind of the idea, to allow Mao to create more interesting competitions, and then for to allow you guys to have differences and customize a little bit before a competition. But yeah, that's the update.
Hopefully that's clear to everybody. If you guys have questions on that, now's the time to pop some inside of Discord and/or on Twitter. And how do we say that? Getty? Is it Jetty or Getty? In any case, yes. No one else is playing right now. I was just teasing there. We do have plans for opening up for players to test. Still have to put that in place though. There's a little bit more complexity to that we just got to nail down. We were working on it right before Christmas break, how to make that work. And we're going to be actually the first step to that is opening up inside of the company for them to play test being inside of our VPN. So other questions?
Yeah, I see
anything else?
Ribozyme has a question there. It says, will the distance/gas take into account the Express NFTs? I mean, it definitely will. Your Express Depot and Express Pier will have shorter travel times and less gas in whatever situations they apply to. I don't know whether or not it will show on that main screen, or if it will just, in the game like it does now, it'll show the difference when you place the NFT.
No,
But
it
it
won't
will
show
still
in that
give
main
the
screen.
boost.
Yeah. I mean, that's an important clarification. Thank you, Michelle. We do want, and we are working on making all current NFTs work in the new game. That's the plan, right? We've sold them. We want you guys to use them. So everyone will get the same distance and gas requirements, but you can affect that with your NFTs. Definitely.
Thanks for that clarification, Michelle. Say 2, you're running at 6 frames a second. What kind of town do you have there, man? What kind of machine do you have? At least it's up from 2 to 3. That's good news. But if you could share a little bit more information with Mal, Michelle, everybody else, maybe there's some in the community too, because maybe there's something that people can point out as a way to help you out there. That's pretty rough justice. Hey, you know what, Michelle? One of the things we talked about that people are confused about are, what is Townstar Godot and what is Townstar Forever?
Yes.
And why don't we talk about that for a second? Let's get some other stuff posted up there. Let me go ahead and get our host to post it out, Rachel to post it out, Atomic to post it out on Twitter there, and then we'll go ahead and stick it inside of Discord. Will that work? Yeah, I got it in Discord there. Okay. There is an image that I've posted there, and Atomic will be posting it out inside of Twitter very soon. So, we way back in the fall, let me give context to everybody. Way back in the fall, we talked about Townstar Forever, right? We're going to build a game called Townstar Forever, and part of that involved porting, to a new engine, a new architecture, right? And also being on the new chain. And as we got into September, October timeframe, I realized the first step of making Townstar forever meant we had to get the existing version of features and up and everything stable on the new engine and on the new chain. And so when you hear us talking about Townstar Godot, and if you look at that image that I just shared, that's the top section up there. So TSG, Townstar Godot, same game, new engine and new chain, plus a little bit, right? Some of the stuff that Musashi just shared, things like decorations are coming. We showed the smooth placement kind of thing. So that's what TSG is. Now, when you think about what's the next step after we get, Townstar Godot up, stable, working, new engine, new change, all the NFTs in there, bridging in and out, TownCoin fully on the new chain. Once that's there, then we start adding features. And then we start really going to town in terms of really, all the great stuff that we're so excited to hurry up and get into the game. Leveling up your NFTs, massive different types of competitions, and all those kind of things. So I wanted to clarify that with everybody because I know there's a little bit of a kind of questions in the community. What is Townstar Forever, and what is Townstar Godot? So hopefully this clears that up. Maybe we can pin this up for other people to see. But if there is, if there's any other questions on that, now's the time to answer it. What is, yes, we're talking about Townstar Forever here. I don't even know. I know I'm going to say your name wrong there, Shmoogie. There's a lot of things that are posted in that group. Yeah, but we're going to stay focused on Townstar now. There's some other company announcements you guys can go and see in the Gala announcements channels about mobile games and casual games and stuff like that. But any questions? Does anybody have any questions on this in terms of what is Townstar Godot, what is Townstar Forever, and how all that works?
Crisp has one there.
Crisp, what would be estimated timeline for Townstar Forever? That's a great question, actually. Think of it as a continuous rollout of features, okay? We know when we talk about the forever, you might hear me say forever mode. That's where we talk about the persistent town, the town that you build up slowly that doesn't get washed away like a sandcastle at the end of the competition, right? So, and we don't have right now we don't have a timeline for when all the parts and pieces are going to come into place, but we know that persistent town is a key feature that we already have a lot of the infrastructure in place, but we'll be adding that once we get all the work done to get the Townstar Godot feature. And basically when you go into live ops, just a top level context, when you go into live ops with a game, you have half the team working on the issues that are coming up, bugs, optimizations, changes, smaller things like daily rewards and those kind of things. But then you have another part of the team that's working on longer, more bold, we call them bold beats, bigger efforts, larger feature sets, new kind of design spaces. You've heard Mal talk about opening up new design spaces. And so that's what we'll be doing there. And 77, no, Persistent Town is not coming in January. What's coming in January is Townstar Godot. Persistent Town is in that forever features category. Let's see. Will Townstar Forever continue to be a factory game or a different game? See, Wolf, share a little bit more about that. Or Mal, Michelle, if you know a little bit more of what that means. I want to make sure we answer the right question.
I think it just means the style, solid production type thing.
Oh, great. Yeah, so it will definitely have a different feel to it, right? And I'm still actually working on what are the, what I call the click patterns. What does it mean when you're playing in this world where everything is not hurry up and assemble your production capabilities to, solve Mal's meta and win on the leaderboard, but instead have a more, longer term, maybe a little less urgent, but also deeper, more fun experience. Because there's so much more when we kind of get out of the mode where everything's automatic, and we get out of the mode where it's really kind of what I call is the race to get your production level to peak, and some more enjoyment, quests, storyline, characters, all those kind of things. Let's see, any other questions there? Are plans for spending town to upgrade our Godot starting spot? We're not going to talk about that right yet, Willow. We're going to save that kind of for later. Our first step is to get this version of Godot out and stable. We have plans on, town syncs, but we'll share more of that later. Other questions? Any plans for May Mayhem? Not yet, Griffey. Let's see. Well,
I see
selecting.
Red Fox asking, yeah, will the selecting the town biome work as soon as Townstar Godot is launched? And yes, that images that we just shared a little while ago of the new like landing page for choosing a town and selecting a competition, that's the basic design of what it's probably going to look like. There won't be a land rush, like you won't jump into the game, pick a server, scroll around a map and pick a tile anymore. It'll be like that where you choose like a biome, at least for right in the beginning.
Hey, wait, just a clarification. In the first phase, you won't get to choose. Everyone gets the same. But we plan on expanding that to allow everyone to choose their biome on the next iteration.
Yeah, and that's a key note there, that really kind of shares a little insight into the development process. First, we get this version out and stable where you get that biome, and then it's a very small step to add the choice of biomes, right? But we didn't want to slow down the initial release by adding that second step, and then even like the third or fourth steps that Musashi has planned for this. So yeah, that's some great insights, actually. Question about design that led to a little bit more insight on our production process. What else? What other questions are you guys seeing out there? Maybe there's something, I saw somebody asking a question. Will there be a season pass fee? We'll figure out additional stuff like that after we get the Godot version locked. Again, if you keep hearing the same answer, it's like we're going to get this version out, get the parity, get everybody playing, and make sure that it's all stable, and then we'll be able to add new things, more fun, more value, more opportunities for people to play in different ways. It's really at the end of the development cycle, you have to keep your team in like tunnel vision mode, right? Stop feature creep, if you guys ever heard of that saying in software development, where you get so close to being done, but somebody says, what about one more feature? What about two more features? Tubbs, when Godot playtest? Hopefully in the next few weeks. I mentioned that before that we're sorting that out. Any updates on how earnings will work? We talked about that with the light paper, so that's the approach that we're going to take. But there is a note that we were going to share today. Maybe, is it Musashi, you want to share that note about the NFT and earnings? Or I can jump in on it.
Oh, sorry, I was answering on Discord. What was the question?
About somebody's asking for an update about the earnings. We've been talking about, hey, we're going to review all the NFTs and check out the earnings and make sure they make sense going forward in terms of individual ones and the health for the economy and all that stuff. We had a little bit of an update that we were going to share today. If you want to share that, or I could jump in and share it.
I think that's a leak. We have to confirm those numbers.
Okay. Go ahead. You could go ahead and leak it. You can go ahead and share it. Jump the gun on it.
No, what I mean is that we have. Are you speaking of the specific numbers for Vox or something like that, or how it's going to work?
Just when we're going to announce how it's going to. Yeah, I'll go ahead and share it. We've done. Mal and Musashi have both done a review. Actually, it was done before Christmas, so we're about ready. We'll share the notes on how we're going to change up earnings for NFT next week. And I know a lot of people have been asking the questions like, what are going to happen with our Voxes? What are going to happen with this NFT that seemed weird and out of bounds? And if I bought this one, I don't know, basketball court, how is that going to change? So look for that announcement for us to go public. Right now, there's not going to be much change from the early notes that we have, But there will be some definitely some changes there. But we'll share that out next week. This is something for everybody to look forward to.
It's going to be a good week next week.
Yeah. Oh, here's a question. Town called Malice. Will Godot facilitate people being able to play effectively on mobile? Yeah, here's our plan for Townstar and mobile. We're a web game, and so our first focus will be able to get the game up and running on what I call web mobile. And I know from making mobile games in the past, the best thing to do is to have your game up, functional, and stable before you get into that release and approval cycle that comes with being on Apple, iOS, and Android. The better you can have everything nailed down and clean and working, the faster and easier it will be to get your game onto mobile and get it through the Apple approval process and deal with all the weirdnesses and edge cases that come with being on Android devices. Okay, maybe intro week or next AMA? Next AMA. We'll just share this stuff at the next AMA. All right, what's next on our agenda, Michelle?
I think I had some questions lined up, but I feel like we answered most of them. We did that. We did that. Did we talk about Geary migration for NFTs and going back and forth?
Oh, we touched on it a bit. I'll jump into that. So it's really simple. You can you've got your ETH NFT, and we want everybody to migrate that over to Geary. And when you migrate it over, it now becomes a Geary NFT. But it also comes with a bunch of sort of that extended functionality that we talked about, like the ability to upgrade them or level them up. And if people still have a lot of questions on that, we can cover that next week. We've covered it about 3 or 4 times in the past. I think Musashi even talked about it last AMA. Now the question that everybody has is, great, so I have this Geary NFT. Will I be able to bridge it out back to ETH? Maybe I want to put it on OpenSea or another marketplace or something like that. And yes, we're actually working on that code right now. And then we had a short discussion about it this morning about making it work. And I'm asked to make sure that we review it carefully, because I want to have the functionality, the upgrade functionality that you get by being a Geary NFT also translate when you bridge it out to ETH. It won't be the same. I wouldn't say upgrade functionality. I would just say the stats and everything that has changed about that NFT. I want that to be represented when you export it out, when you bridge it out. And then you go, well, wait a minute, if I bridge it out, will somebody be able to bridge it back in? Yes, that's the intent. So you can see, anybody who's watched bridging projects before know how, I think somebody even saying it's a little bit of a nervous process. Right? I'm going to go from one format to another format, from one chain to another chain. Can I bring it back? We're going to work very hard to make that loop as seamless and as easy as possible. Now, there may be some cases, some edge cases, where things are a little bit crusty, because it's sort of like if you ever use Google Translator and translate, say, English into French, and then just take that back and translate it back to English. Sometimes the words are different, but we'll work on that. So the whole goal is to make that as seamless as possible for everybody. What else? Does anybody else have any more questions on the bridging issue?
I don't see anything.
Okay. Cool. Let's move on to what's our next phase of our AMA?
I think that if Mal is ready, I think it's Mal's story time.
It's funny how there's now a story time. So I will try and keep it quick. But this one is more around the point of socializing. But I'll share anyway. So many, many years ago, I was a bit of a COD fan. Used to love COD. But I found that I was always at the same level. I did pretty good, but I never really got better. I really got worse. It was just the same. Never improved. And I played a lot, so I was like, and I come to the conclusion that you think a certain way, you play a certain way, and unless you go and make an effort to actually see other people play and what other people do when they beat you and stuff like that, you know, it was on my mind, and I wanted to go and do something about it, and I didn't really know what. I believe I tried maybe a stream, but I got too distracted, you know, sort of listening, reading the chat and whatever else. But what I did find is you could replay, just like Black Ops 2 maybe, but you could replay, or no, maybe even one of the early ones. I can't remember. You could replay the game and spectate. If anyone remembers that feature, you could play back the whole game that you had, and then watch whoever you wanted in the match. So I found doing that allowed me to watch the really good players, and I was like, this is great. And to get more of those things to watch, I started doing that. You can join game, you can follow them around. That led to a lot of sort of angry messages because people just didn't like randomly being followed around. But one guy, he said, do you clan? And I didn't really clan on COD, no. So I said no, but I am looking to get, you know, some more interesting games. I'm feeling a bit bored, you know. So he sends me a message and he invites me to spar against this clan that they're going to have an official match against in a few days. I wasn't really sure what was going on, but anyway, turned up the next day and I just wiped the floor with the opposite clan. It was really easy. I was actually shocked and couldn't even believe they were supposed to be serious players. It was on a map I'd never seen. It was like a custom thing, but I think it was from the main game type map. It was never one of those in the lobbies. So the map was brand new to me. But I don't know, I did really well the first day. So they sent me a message like, hey, why don't you come and join us for the second day of spars? So I did. Same result. It just felt really easy. And the opposite team, I don't know whether they weren't playing and that was the whole trick all along or what, but it was really easy. So then they send me a message and they're like, listen, we really, really want to beat these in the official games. You know, one of the people are going to drop out so you can have their slot. You know, would you be willing to take it? And I thought, you know, these people need a hero. I'm going to step in right now and I'm going to do it. And we're going to have some fun. And the next day comes, I get the invite. And there's all the opposites and us in the lobby, and you can hear each other. So the opposite side asks who votes first on the map. Now, I'm confused because we only sparred on one map, and there was never a mention of any other map. And then they said about the game mode, and then it was voted search and destroy. And it was only ever team deathmatch that we sparred on. So I was already becoming a little bit nervous because, you know, this was completely different. And I had kind of wanted to be the hero for them. Plus, I kind of put myself in that position by one of their players dropping out. But to cut a long story short, it came on the snowy map, if maybe someone can remember. I can't remember what it's called. It has a trench in the middle. It's got two bombed out buildings like flats, lots of layers, trench in the middle. It's one of those. Anyway, I was humbled every single round. I didn't get a single kill. I was the first to die every single time. It was terrible, but my team had done so well that they almost won overall. Yes, had my performance been a little bit better, they would have. So to cut the long story short, as soon as it ended, I was just banned immediately, sent a bunch of horrible messages. But what made me really laugh is the fact that the guy who invited me originally messaged me to say that he'd been kicked out because he invited me to that game. So that was the long story short. But the moral of that is that you will get better by looking at how other people play. You know, going out there and being social, you know, if it's joining clans or in our case in Discord, some of the top players are there and they will show you very good ways to build and stuff like that. And you would be shocked at just seeing visually someone post a different way you maybe get the most passive from a sugarcane stand, or maybe the best way to build around a certain pollution or whatever it is. Like, there's so much help there. And I honestly believe that some people tend to just ignore it because they're comfortable where they are. And I think you should always strive to push yourself a little bit more, especially when it's so easy to go and learn a little bit more. So that's the moral. And of course, remain humble and don't try and be anyone's hero.
You almost had me with that you're just going to wipe the map with them in the new game. But yes. So moral of the story: social, help other people learn new lessons. There's so much. I mean, Townstar is is really deep, right? And we've seen that. We mentioned in the last couple of weeks how we've seen a lot more people in the community helping, and we really appreciate that. Mal, any other comments before we move on to the next section?
Sorry, it went back in there. Yeah, no, I agree. It was a shorter story. I wanted to keep it short because obviously it was a lot more funnier with the sort of whole in between each round. There was obviously stress building up, and it was hilarious. And obviously, I felt terrible, but I do honestly like. I can't explain that. Once I remember the times when nobody shared. Just we're talking mid 2020 when I was playing. Nobody wanted to share anything. Nobody wanted to help you because it was very competitive. And even if many people did, there wasn't a lot of people to help, and there wasn't a lot of resources. And I remember as time went on, even as someone who played a lot, I would just see various people would post. Someone could post a half a town that isn't great, but you'd see just one thing that they've laid out and think, And you'd just be shocked that just by making the efforts to be in the Discord, speaking to people, socializing. We've got great clans. You'll always see them in Discord, helping people, recruiting people. And you do see those players posting better rates. So I can't express enough how it is much. It's funner as well, especially, in my opinion. But the experience you get is that you're better as a player. You just learn more. There's no harm in learning more, I don't believe. Well, depending on what it is, but in this case, it's definitely beneficial.
Yeah. And then we get stronger as a community. I think I saw somebody asking before, how do we get new players? We mentioned the last AMA, you might start seeing some ads popping up. We probably won't be targeting current Townstar players with those ads. I would actually encourage our ad team not to do that. But one of the ways to get more players is to have an inviting community, having people feel welcome when they come in. I've definitely seen that a lot in the last 2 weeks. Actually, last month even. So thanks everybody for doing that. I even cribbed some notes off of somebody made a cheap power plant. They called it a cheap power plant. 4 windmills, a set of roads, right, and a storage there. So that was cool. Anyways, let's jump on to the next section. What's next, Michelle?
I think we're moving on to meta leaks, which I think is everybody's favorite part of the AMA at this point.
Woohoo! Who's doing the meta leaks today?
I'll just arriving to the list. It's a longer list for me to just memorize and spit it out. I apologize. So I'm just getting myself ready. Right. So the standard changes are occurring. That's decreasing Boom Cane City points back to 650, increasing the Boom Cane sell price to $12,600. The Boom Cane craft time is going to go back to 30 seconds. The Ice Block City sell price is going to be decreased to 4,500. I'll have Michelle post all of these ones and just read the important ones. I don't know what I'm doing. So the Silica City Cell Cash is now, I promised it'd be higher than a 20x, lower than a 40x, so it's 32,000, because I've seen someone guess 30,000 and I thought, no, you were not guessing this one, so now it's 32. Congratulations, it's higher. The other important change was the fact that Silica will be green anywhere. So you do not need a desert tile or all these salty edges and all these other crazy things to spare yourself 40 sand mines for this meta. So you don't have to worry about that. They will be green. The Rock and Horse craft timer is now 30 seconds. I know that was a long timer, so that should be a nice one. The city points, of course we care, even though we just know they're going to be high. It's 30,000. Enjoy. The molten glass craft timer is going to be 60 seconds. It's going to be reduced quite a bit. Now, the next changes everyone knew was coming, but I'm just going to remind everyone, and they're going to all act shocked and probably not like me for a week, but it's okay because there's plenty of cash boosts in there. But it's the fact of the Christmas buildings go back to their original, well, when I say go back, they are now going to be put at what they were intended. So for everyone who's very curious, but before everyone panics, again, there's 2 cash boosts in there, one very easy and one only a little bit harder and very boosted. So again, the Santa's Factory is 5 million in terms of its cash cost. The North Pole Creation Lab is 1 million. The Wizard's Workshop is 1.5 million. The Master Wizard is 3 million. That's for its construction cash. That doesn't change the requirements like lumber or anything like that. The wages for the Santa Factory, as I say, all wages went up. So all the building prices went up double. If you're wondering how these new numbers came about, they were doubled, as I said they would be. And then the wages went up by 50%. So the Santa's Factory is 3,750 a minute. North Pole Creation Lab, 1,125 a minute. Master Wizard, 3,000 a minute. And the Wizard Workshop, 1,875 a minute. The NFTs remain unchanged on wages. Just to repeat that, they remain unchanged. I also want to address the fact that I'm aware with the Wizard's Workshop, we have the issue of by having a higher cold, it has a higher shade because the proximities are linked, as in if you give it 3 proximities, then you can only decide 1 range for them all. So I can't have like two shady, 1 shady, 2 cold. Can't do it, sadly, yet. Roll on, Godot. But they are the changes, and obviously I'll be in Discord answering questions. Farmer Shell will be able to put this in the amazing bot that I absolutely love. Please make sure to do it, to use that if you need the information. You'll get it much quicker.
Oh, look at that list there. That's crazy. That's giant. Matt, just a quick question, and partly for me, but also I know because everybody has to be wondering in the community, how in the heck do you come up with all of these things? This is a ton of changes, right?
Well, to be fair, I mean, a good chunk of those are reversing the last meta out. And then putting in promise changes, so I can't take any credit for this one. But some metas are very heavy, and it usually comes down to, sometimes what you're crafting wouldn't really be fun to spam, so to say, because that's kind of what it is, to get the maximum amount for it to sort of just pump it out. There's sometimes there's just various things that because there's, say, wood on that, or because this is a 3-minute timer, or because one thing is used a lot in the meta, so that might mean like this one, heavy on the mines, for example, and silica, so that's why there's no desert requirements, because you'd be very forced into, it's just taking a note of what changes need to be made to ensure that the stupidly pain points, when the points where it just becomes unfun because it's just pointlessly hard. It's just trying to take those out and then replace them with ones that have, spiced it up a little bit in a fun way.
Okay. That's cool. It's almost like that meme where they show of somebody sitting there looking up and calculating. That's what I imagine when you're working on it. Let's see. Any questions that have popped up before we move on to the next section? There you go. There's that meme I'm talking about. That's Mal figuring out what the next meta is. I did see a question someone asked about using NFTs, Seawolf. What if you're using NFTs in the comp servers and others in TS Forever? We have to choose which server we take the earnings from. That's actually a great question, and it pops open another thing we haven't really talked about yet, but I'll share a little bit here. If you look at the light paper right now, it is Townstar Godot, right? It is what is the current economics, tokenomics that we're going to use for this game releasing. Now, when you think about adding the persistent mode, it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to imagine that maybe there's going to be an update to that tokenomics plan. And and so way back in September and October, we were working on that, put that on hold so that we can make sure we get the Godot tokenomics plan set. And so as we go forward, we'll be doing an update to that. And that'll answer those questions on, hey, if I have an NFT that I'm using in competition, what happens when I use it in persistent mode? If it earns in competition, will it earn in persistent mode? How does that all work? And the reason why we didn't just jump out and share that right away is, again, just that process of let's get a stable, solid foundation in place, everything working, and then build on top of that. So, other questions?
I had more leaks. I forgot to leak something kind of important. But I blame the chat for distracting me, and I had to tell a story then, which. So So I've seen people obviously asking. It's kind of funny how it's being dubbed, to be honest. It's like, oh, the last competition, the last ghost card, because of the whole like date and when the competition falls, which is really funny. But if it happens to be the last competition on Play Canvas, what would that meta be? And it's been funny because I've been thinking of this for weeks and weeks. And, I'd something inside me. I love the idea of the old and the new. And I was picking a new bathroom. And it's been a nightmare for me this past couple of weeks, just because some part of me hates the new modern look, likes the old style, but kind of like a bit of both. So I was thinking in terms of that of the meta. So the cryptic sort of leak, because I'm not going to tell you what it will be, but I will give you hopefully enough information. Think of an old school classic meta, and then think of what a signature themed meta was for 2022. Well, I think once you've figured that out, you will know what the meta is going to be. But the ghost card, the ghost card has also been a bit of a problem, because it would have the Treef, the Wild Woodlands, I forgot the name already, but the card for the trees with being Christmas was the idea of it being, wood theme made sense, but obviously that was a very special one. So what would this one be, so to speak? I'm torn, so I'll just say it, and I'll see what this, because I like to just read Discord going crazy over a few days with all the different reasonings. But the options are water facility or feed mill. Now, the feed mill would likely work like the lumber does in terms of seconds per rarity, possibly. But that doesn't mean feed mills will always be the times that they are, so I want to think carefully on that one. But those are the two options, water facility and feed mill, that I am torn on, so I'm just going to leave that out there.
I think Tina444 is asking for boxes. Did I get that right, Tina?
Unanimous vote for boxes, is it?
Sounds like it. Everybody's, it's really filling up with feed mill.
Yeah, see, that was my original plan, but I kind of know that the water facilities are popular, because, you do need a lot of battles sometimes. So, it's one of those, it's a tricky one.
That is a tough call. I honestly don't know which one I would prefer. I feel like I would rather have a water facility one. It's a tough call.
There you go, Vulture. Boxes. Both. Why not everything? Cool. What's next, Michelle? We're kind of coming to the end of our hour.
Sale announcement. Sale announcement's next.
Sale announcement. Who's going to do that? We're going to get a visit today. Is Top Boy going to jump in at the last minute like he does sometimes?
No,
or
I have a message. I have a message off him. Okay. I shall pass over what he sends. So from Top Boy. Oh, I better talk about this. What is it first? So it's going to be an oak wood. So it's the big oak shed. The reason for the name big, I enjoy with the big warehouse and the big storehouse. I thought, I like those little collaborations. Someone put a good idea about what if you owned all the big storages? Would that be some kind of cool little buff in Godot or something along those lines? And I love that thinking that comes from such funny things. But we've got the big oak shed. It is epic. It holds a 60 capacity of just oak wood. Now, I just want to be specific because I'm not a fool. I know people are thinking there's the meta coming now, and then there's sort of oak barrels, which don't need, oak doesn't store, it goes straight to the lumber mill. And then there's the question of why does the rock and horse oak go to the storage? Well, that's because I don't enjoy the fact that the lumbers do that, but I wouldn't change it. I'm not going to change the logic of them doing that. But on new crafts that take oak wood, that won't happen. I've mentioned this previously, but I'll mention again, of course, things like clocks, oak furniture. There's plenty of crafts that are going to be coming that require oak wood. One thing I've said, and I've done it, I've proved it as well, I want oak to be used in more. That's why it's on the industrial water pump. That's why it's on the water facility. I'm going to slowly include it in more and more. And this is a priority storage. And that's why I explain this, because people like to direct things to certain places. That's one of the benefits of a priority storage. So this is going to be the one for oak wood specifically. I will read out the details from Top Boy. $100, 360 store supply. Town and credit card, 11 a.m. PST, 3 per transaction. Do I need to repeat, or did everyone catch that one?
I see several people are typing right now.
Season asks about oak-based crafts. No, it's oak wood. So it's a specific storage for oak wood. Things like the Rocking Horse, for example, requires oak for creation, 3 oak. That is collected from storage, so the lumberjacks will not take it to the factory. Yeah, the foreman will come out and he will grab the oak wood from storage. So, and in the future, whatever things are creating with oak, it'll be the same thing. The unit will have to go and get it from storage. It will not just be delivered directly by the lumberjacks or the loggers.
Meta
So-
driver next Halloween doing an Oakwood box for a cemetery box. Interesting. Slightly macabre.
Yeah, oak's
Right.
definitely got some good uses. I've always expressed that I feel like we could use it for a lot, the same way we do with wood. So expect that.
All right. Last questions. About ready to wrap up. We get something playing 10 days in January. Did we pick out the 10-day reward for January yet, guys?
There will be one, but I am undecided yet. So I've got a sneaky feeling of what one though, but I won't share just yet.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Always is, and that's really simple for anybody wondering what that is. If you play the game 10 days in a month, we give out a free NFT. It's really straightforward. We try to make it interesting and fun. What was the? Can you guys, Mal Michelle, can you share some of the ones that we've given out for new people over the last few months?
Oh wow, that's a long list. I should be able to get.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
It's all right. I mean, we've been going since what, Mayhem now? Last Mayhem?
Yeah, the first one we gave away, I believe, was in June. It was for playing in May. I think it was the flower storage. And we went there. Let's see, we had flower storage, we had a sugar storage, we had a salt storage, and a wool storage. We did
Pumpkin.
cotton storage. Yep, pumpkin storage, the peppermint storage. I
Candy
feel like I
canes
still
coming.
missed something.
Did we get
Yep.
sugar storage? We did a sugar storage.
So good, useful NFTs. Things that people can. Yeah, there you go. Gala Nodal.
Yeah, I see people often use them. For various parts. They're coming quite handy. I've seen a lot of metas. Some metas use more than others. And it's nice to see. As I say, that was the whole goal with them. You're around playing, and you get things that slowly help along the way for in the future each time. And they build up now. People who've been playing since then have got a whole host of priority storages just that they can use. Same with the ghost cards.
Milk storage. Is anything else, Michelle? Anything else on our agenda today? Did we miss anything that we were going to talk about? I think we got.
No, I think we got everything.
I've
Okay,
seen
cool.
Trade Boss asks. Probably next week, maybe I'll try and speak a bit more about those. The Trade Boss.
Yeah, I've seen that. That feels like it keeps popping up every day. Someone asks about it, or it's the same people ask about it. So
I can say what I've already said, and it's one of the utilities I'm looking at is that it sort of picks any number between maybe 1 and 100 as one of its things. And it wouldn't be bound by, land or whatever. It could do land or sea, water, whatever. As I said, it's not fixed. People always ask about the old utility plans for it, which still linger. None of that's been decided. No, it's not a case of trying to nerf all the other ones just to address that. It's we're looking to find a nice place for it, and of course, one of the reasons there's a delay on getting an answer for the utility is because, well, I need to have a really good conversation with Volcron. Really, just want to make sure we can do what we actually say and give you the best experience.
yeah. I think we talked about it last week, or maybe I said it in Discord. I really like how you're taking a thoughtful approach to this, because there's going to be more functionality that's there with Godot, and rather than just trying to get something out, you get an answer out there quick with the limited functionality that we have. I like that you're kind of really looking into the future to make this guy have some long-lasting value. I think that's really cool. All right, trade bot equals Jimmy. I don't think so, Vulture. Mal, what do you think? Trade bot not equal Jimmy. Yes. And Mal, is there, and I know this is totally putting you on the spot, is there any updates on Jimmy? We've seen him around. I know there was some work that some happenings going on.
Todd is around. I know he is, because he's always around for these AMAs, but we were just going to, it wasn't ready just in time for Christmas, so we thought we'd just wait, but there is the league. I kind of told people in chat as a really, we sort of wanted to level up when we were doing the lore and the sort of leaks around it. Me and Todd decided, we could definitely try and get that a bit better, and we've been working on some fun stuff. So, I definitely expect to see that soon. Maybe there's the one video that Todd knows that I want to post very soon that should be basically ready. So if we can get that out soon, we will.
Cool.
This is the
Sounds like we're going
to
take another trip to the town archives.
Yeah,
It's been a while since we've gone. Yep.
Yeah, so expect more, some of the lore, and obviously as we get closer to Godot and we get over there and stuff like that, we can start doing more fun content and stuff like that. But it's nice to have the lore go along with it and stuff, I feel, or just to make it more fun and add some life to Jimmy and other characters.
Yeah, sorry, I'm reading a note here from, I don't know how you say it, Dendaddy. Yeah, Gala Power and Town Power are not part of the tokenomics plan going forward. So I think that's what you meant by, do you need to hold Gala in town? All right, I think that's a wrap. Unless anybody up here on stage has any last minute things to add. Are we good, guys? Okay, I'll take that silence as yes. So why don't we say goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully you got a lot of information out of this, plus a little bit of Mal story time there. We really appreciate all of our community coming in, giving us ideas, sharing notes, helping us find bugs, helping new players. You guys are really making this a special place for everybody to come. And also it's special for the team too, because we're spending a lot of hours and time doing work for you guys, and to hear the feedback, hear what you like, hear what you don't like is really valuable for us and energizes us too. And so thank you so much for that. And for those people who are new and just joining us, what we try to do as a team is what I call walk the talk. So we might not be sharing a whole bunch of future things, like 6 months out, 12 months out, but what we try to do, work really hard to do, is share what's going to be happening very, very soon, and then be able to make that actually happen. So that's how we work. So everything you've heard here is real, planned, maybe already done in the background. We just haven't released yet, but we're very, very certain about that. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. And we'll see you next week, or if not, in Discord. Again, if you have any questions, hit up in Discord, hit us up in Twitter. And thank you so much, everybody.